90 minutes? With Wix e-commerce, you can do just that. Meet Angel, founder of The Spice Suite, a 2
सर पीछे का कुछ वॉइस आ रहा है।
एक्चुअली यूट्यूब पे ऐड आया ना वो चैनल पे जब आने के बाद शायद वही
कुछ भी है लाइव सर?
लाइव ओके गॉट इट कूल हेलो एवरीवन हेलो साइस्ता गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन Madhur, good evening. Great to see you all again. Really great to see you all. Good evening. Yep, ready to rock. Good evening, Pushpa. Good evening, Shubham. Yesterday there was a problem in Mumbai, Gagandeep. So yesterday there was some kind of power outage in Mumbai. So a lot of like almost at every place in Mumbai there was power cut. That's great, Abhima. That's great. Java is simple, amazing. If you find it simple, that's amazing. That's really good. Can access method? Yes, you can access only if it is static, Sridhar. So if you want to access any method without using the object, you have to make it static. Good evening, Uma. First, show how to upload. Don't worry, guys. Okay, fine. For the assignment upload, there will be a separate video that will be like launched by tomorrow, so you can see there and learn how to upload your files and also fill the form for assignments. So don't worry about it. So there will be a separate video coming out tomorrow just on how to upload assignments. So hope you people found the assignments easy. I hope. It was quite easy, right? What is your problem, Jayaprakash? Tell me. Yeah, it's okay, Akash. It's okay. Not a problem, Rishabh. We'll adjust that. Don't worry about it. No, tomorrow you'll be getting a video. So tomorrow there will be a video coming out on the channel just for how to upload assignments. So don't worry. Okay. Can we create object for string by importing? You don't have to import, right? It is by default available. So there is no need actually. Yes, Saurav. Don't worry about the assignment dates, people. Don't worry. So once you get the video out tomorrow, then you can watch it and then upload out all the assignments. Not a problem at all. We'll check it. Okay, tell me the problem, Jayaprakash. What is the problem? Yes, not a problem, Akash. You can see the video tomorrow and then you can start uploading. You'll get a video on how to upload assignments. Don't worry. That's amazing, Saista. How to solve build failed? Build failed, maybe it's because of some compilation problem. Maybe you have to check your code once. Don't worry, Sripati, we'll check it. Fine. So I think we should start for today's lecture. How to get age input, put date, question 2. Okay. Sahil, don't worry, I'll show you today. I actually didn't want you people to take any kind of date from user. That's why showed you to take, told you to take 3 different variables. One for day, one for month, and one for year. I didn't want to take you a single date from user. I just wanted you to take 3 different parts of date from user. One for day, one for month, and one for year. So Sir, can you solve more problems for good clarity, sir? Not a problem. I'll solve all your problems. Don't worry. Don't worry, Sangeet. I'll solve all your problems. That's why, Gagandeep, that's why I didn't say to take date from user. That's why I just said to take day from user, take month from user. So you basically had to create like three variables, three separate variables. One is day, one is month, one is year. And take simple things like 24, 6th month, 6, 2020. That's just like that. Okay, Jay Prakash, we'll focus on it. Don't worry. We'll solve more problems. Don't worry. Let's start with it today, right? So I actually started a poll on a community, right? I think you might have seen it about which project to make. And then you people voted for quiz application. So today we'll be making a quiz application after we are completing with loops and arrays. Okay, Saurabh, we'll see it, don't worry. Yes, Shashank, it's fine. Yes, that's the only thing you have to do, Shubham. Current year minus the year of birth. That is how you get age, right? That is how you calculate your age. Simple. If I say what is your age, you basically you add up from the year you have born. You add up from the current year, right? So that's a simple logic. If you want to get the age, you took year from user, right? You took the year from user. That like current year 2020 minus that year, that will give you your age. Simple. First assignment. What was the first assignment? I don't remember the question. Can you people tell me what was the first assignment? I solved it very fast. Got it? Getting the age was very, very simple. It's how you do it in real time. That's all. Yes, Ashish, don't worry. I'll tell you the 8 objects. Don't worry. So let's first complete the important things, then we can move on to all those objectives, like how to use date object, how to use all that. Don't worry. But first we have to complete the most important things, right? Yes, there are some workarounds, Shubham. That's what you people had to do, right? Just for some workarounds. That's why I gave that assignment to you people. So don't worry about it. I just wanted a very simple thing to like current year minus the year, birth year. That's all. Yes, not a problem, not a problem. I just wanted the assignment completed, Srinivas. So don't worry. Yes, Sangeet, that's totally fine. That is totally fine. For beginners, that is totally fine. Not a problem at all. You can just subtract the birth year minus by 2020. That's totally fine. Yes, Sangeet, it is okay. I heard your question. Okay, let's get back to main.java. Okay. Day 3, first question. What was the first question? Yes, it is okay, Saurav, not a problem. If you have subtracted it by the current date, that's totally fine. If you have subtracted by the current year, like 2020, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's okay, Sangeet. It's totally fine. It will take some time. You can't be perfect in one day. You'll see a video tomorrow about how to upload assignments, then you can start uploading. Not a problem. Fine. So I hope you're good to start now. We'll see that, Vanshika. Don't worry. I have to actually see your code for that. Okay, that was simple, right? That question was simple. That question is pretty simple. You just have to like take 5 subject marks like input. So I think that was very simple. And then you have to add it. And then let's say if you have all the subject addition in this like this, let's say subject 1 plus subject 2 plus subject 3 plus subject 4 and plus subject 5. I think it was something like this. Then this was your result, right? So you have to print it. I'll tell you how to print percentages. Don't worry. Don't worry, Vishaka. Don't worry. Don't worry, Vishaka. Okay, for leap years, then you have to. Don't worry, I'll also teach you people how to actually use dates for that thing. That assignment was just for like a simple exercise. So don't worry about it. I'll teach you how to use actual dates to separate so that if it is a leap year or non-leap year, that doesn't matter in that case. Don't worry about it. Jayaprakash, don't worry about it, buddy. Don't worry. That assignment was just like you only told, right? It is for beginners. So don't worry. That was just for beginners. You just check there that okay, that they can do some Java. That was our main task in that assignment. So that you can like perform some basic operations. Don't worry about that leap year thing and all that for like now. We can just attack them in some time. Don't worry. We can do that. Yes, crazy guy. Don't. Yes, that we can do that. You have to learn a little. Fine, let's start. So yes, in the last session, we ended at something called as loops. Hope people remember. Gagandeep, don't worry, upload your error on the community. Anyone who is facing error in code, please post your code on the community and I'll solve it. Tag me and I'll solve it. Don't worry. That is what you have to do. I'm always live on the community. You just have to post your question and tag me. I'll see your question and solve it. Because it is not possible in the live session to solve all your code problems. So that is the feature we have got for you. You have to upload your code, upload your question regarding like any problem that you have, upload it on the community and tag me and I'll solve it. I think just write @ and my name. That's all, Sripati. Whatever you're writing while asking, just write @. You'll get some options. Write my name and that's all. I'm tagged. I'll get a notification and I'll solve it. So because it is a little problematic, like solving your questions here because I can't see your code right now. So that's why you have to post your code, tag me and I'll solve it. Fine. From next time, just remember this thing. Yes, not a problem, Arjun. You can post anything. I'll solve whatever I can. Raj will see that. Don't worry. I'll tell you what is the size of an empty class. Yeah. Let's first focus on the basics. Yes, Vishnu Priyan, yes. Yes, next in 5 times, Monica. Yes. You have to use 5 variables and 5 next ends to take 5 inputs and then add them. Yeah. Okay, let's start. So last time we stopped our lecture at loops. So we at least saw the definition, right? That loops are something that repeat themselves, and whatever is inside them will basically execute again and again. So we saw a very simple example, right? There might be some kind of compiler issue, Vanshika. So if your code is working fine, that's not a problem. It might be some kind of system issue. I'll tell you in the end, don't worry. You just post this question at the end again, I'll tell you. Let's first start with the lecture. Don't worry, Vanshika, we'll solve it. If it is not a code error, then that is totally fine. It might be some kind of software error. We can reinstall and run again. Not a problem at all. Fine. Okay. So we have to create a big assignment today. So let's try to first complete all these things in the next 40 minutes or so. So let's start now. Fine. So last time we learned the definition that a loop is basically something that runs itself, and whatever is present inside it will execute itself again and again. Right? Karthik, I showed this, right? How can we run Java in VS Code? Oh, you have to actually attach some plugin with VS Code. So I'll show you if I get it. Don't worry. Karthik, I'll show you. Don't worry. Fine. So now, as I told you that if I have an if statement, so inside the if statement, I have something called as a condition. That basically specifies like to execute this block or not. So if this condition is true, this block will execute, this block will get executed, and if this condition is false, we'll just get outside, right? So same in loops. Let's say if I'm creating some kind of loop, it also has a condition, and again, it also has a block. Simple. And again, in the same thing. If this condition is true, we'll come inside. If this condition is false, we'll just go outside. But the only difference between an if condition and a loop is, in if the condition is true, you execute it and you just get out. Inside loops, if the condition is true, it will come inside, execute itself, and again go up. Saista, I just told you that you can post your question, right? You can post your question. You can post your question on the community and tag me, I'll solve it. I can't see your question right now. Zoom in, I think it's the same size, right? I didn't decrease the font size. It is the same size as the previous lectures. But I'll just increase the font size a bit. Don't worry. Is it visible now? Everyone is visible now. Vanshika, don't worry, just whatever code you have, just post it on the community, I'll solve it. Yes, exactly, Vishnu. I hope it is visible now, everyone. Can we move ahead now? Because I've increased it a lot, then when I'll be unable to see it. Okay, great. Fine, let's start then. So as I said, you people, that basically loop is something which will execute itself again and again if the condition is true. So if the condition is true, just see the process once. If the condition is true, it will come inside, execute all the code, and the by default feature of the loop is to go back up again. So it will just go back up, and again will check condition and come inside. And if it will go back again. And if it is again true, come inside. So until and unless the condition is false, the loop will keep running. That is how it works. Is it clear? So I hope you understood the concept of loops. So basically you use loops whenever you have some kind of code that you want to get executed again and again. Or maybe like for some count, for some particular, let's say for 10 times or 20 times, for 100 times, so that you don't have to write it again and again. So say for example, you have a code to take user details. Just think, you have a code to take user details, and you actually have to take user details 100 times continuously. Yes, it will work, Mohan, it will work. So basically, if you have to take user details 100 times, in that case, if you don't have the feature of loops, let's say you don't have loops, so you have to write the code again and again. Or else if you create a function, you have to call the function 100 times to get details 100 times from user. But you have something called as loop, where you can put all your code inside a loop, and you just have to write it once inside the loop. And the by default feature of the loop is to execute itself again and again. So it will execute itself again and again, and you can just stop the loop when the 100 times complete. That's how you do it. I'll tell you, don't worry, I'm showing you. If once you're clear with the concept, then the code is nothing for you. Once you're clear with the concept. No, you cannot frack up. You cannot. Just don't do it. Otherwise, your PC will blast. I'm kidding. Switch is the conditional statement, Shreyansh, and loop is something else. Loop is basically getting used to execute your code again and again. So loop is something different. We saw like switch last time. We saw it. We saw it, right? Last time. Switch is basically condition. It checks a lot of conditions and then executes a code only for once. But loop is something which executes again and again. Now, there are 3 keywords that are used in Java to write a loop. Then there are more, but basically there are 3 keywords which are used in Java to write the loop code. And I'm just listing them here. There's something called as a while loop. Then there is something called as a do while loop. And then there is something called as a for loop. So these are the 3 keywords that you're going to use to write loop. Just like you have if keyword to write conditions, you have while keyword, you have do while keyword, and you have for keyword to write loops. Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear? So let's see how to write a loop, for the first time in Java. So for the first example, we are going to use while, and basically there are three ways, right? I'm just showing you, like there are three keywords. So we also have to understand what is the difference between all three, right? Like there are three things to perform same kind of task. So why there are three? So that's what we have to understand today. So let's go. Let's start. So again, the same case, just like you write if and then your condition. And basically, you know what is a condition? A condition is basically a comparison between two variables. A condition is basically a comparison between two different data to like check whether they are same or greater or like lesser, something like that. So it will be same inside loop. So instead of if, you're going to write something called as while. And again, it will have a block. Now inside this, you have to write a condition. But as you know, to write a condition, you need some kind of data. You need some kind of variable. Simple, right? We know it. To write a condition, you need some kind of variable. So let's make it simple. Let's go and just write integer num equals 1. Now the condition I'm writing here is while num, okay, let's say num is 10. And now let's say while num is less than 10. Okay, again, let's make it 1. Fine. So now it's simple. I have a variable integer num, and the value of it is by default 1 because I've initialized it. And again, I have a while condition, while loop, and then the condition is num is less than 10. So I know that it is going to be true, right? So if it is a if, let's say just for now, I'm just putting code like system.out.println hello there. Simple, hello there. Now, in this case, what will happen? I know that if it was a if, do you mind to tell us the difference in the term of it? Yes, I'll tell the difference, crack up. Don't worry, I'll tell the difference. Don't worry. Once we complete all three, I'll explain the difference. Don't worry about it. So now in this case, you know that this condition is going to be true. So if this thing was an if, it will just come inside, execute this, and go outside. But in this case, it is basically a loop. So what will happen? It will check this. Okay, fine, the condition is true. Come inside, execute this, and again go back up. Now, once it again goes back up, now if you check the condition again, so now still it is 1. And now again it will check. Okay, fine, 1 is still less than 10. Come inside, execute it. And again, by default feature, it will go up. And again it will check. Okay, fine, check now. If num is less than 10, again num has not changed. It is again 1. So in this case, what will happen? If this is a loop, what will happen? It will execute itself again and again, and there is no stopping it because num is never going to change. Num will be always 1. Num will be always 1. Num is never going to be changed. So that is so basically in this case, this loop is infinite. This loop will execute itself again and again for like infinite time because there is no stopping it. Num is never changing. So that is the problem. So we have to tell num that you have to reach num. You have to reach 10 to stop it because until and unless num is less than 10, it will just execute itself again and again, right? Akash, don't post the definitions. I'm going to explain it. Don't worry. Don't make it confusing for a lot of people. So that is correct, but don't post it right now. So now in this case, I have to make num 10. So what I'll do is at the end, I'll just make num equals 10. Now let's see what will happen here. What will happen? Please, everyone just see. I'm explaining in some kind of way that everyone can understand it. And you should always know the actual need of loop. So what happens, a lot of people, like their minds are fixed that they know, okay, fine, I have to just increment or decrement. So it is not always increment or decrement. There are a lot of ways to change the value of num or change the value of variable. So when you are in some kind of live software or like you're doing something in reality, there might be no increment or decrement inside a loop. There might be something else that is stopping a loop. So you have to understand it. Right? That's what I'm saying. So let's try to just understand what is actually happening instead of increment and decrement. That will see what we have to do. So now in this case, what will happen if we go one by one? Let's try. Let's go one by one. Now my num is 1. Okay, fine. Let's come while. Check. Okay, fine. 1 is less than 10. That's perfect. Come inside, system.out.println hello there, and make num 10. So num is now 10, but it is a by default feature of loop to go back up again. So now after ending, it will go back up again. And again, now check. Okay, fine. Now num has become 10 from here. So now check. Is 10 less than 10? No. The condition is false. I'll just come outside. So basically, this hello there was only printed once. Now let's see if it is actually working for us. Let's just see if it is actually working for us. And I didn't say that I want to print hello there 9 times. I didn't say that. It might be because I just want to like it to be printed 5 times or 4 times. It's up to us. So don't make your minds fixed. Okay, I have to go from 1 to 10 always, by plus plus, by minus minus. Don't make it like that. It can be anything. Can you see? I have hello there only once because the loop was executed only once. Now let's see. Now actually, let's say just for now, I want to execute this code, let's say going to 10, like at 10 it will stop. So basically, I have to count the steps, how many steps I want, like how many times I want this loop to be like get executed. I want to do it. So now what I can do, I can like change num like in an interval, like something like this. I can say num, okay, fine. Every time the loop is executed, only change yourself by 1. Something like this. So whatever is inside num, add 1 to it and again store it inside num. This is what we can do. So num equals num plus 1. So now let's see how it is getting executed. So now num is equal to 1. Perfect. Okay, check num. Okay, 1 is less than 10. Perfect. Come inside. Hello there. And now num was 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And again, I'm storing it in num. So now the new num is 2. Fine. Let's go up now. While 2 is less than 10. Yeah, right. Come inside. Print it. Num plus 1. So 2 plus 1. Now the new num is 3. Now this num is basically getting incremented or changed by 1 every time. So basically it will go from 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9 till 9 and then stop at 10 because in that case we are getting it false. Is it clear? So basically it's up to us how many times we want to get like this loop executed. So I can, depending on that, I can change my variables data. I can increment it, I can change it by 1, I can change it by 2, I can change it by 4, I can change it by 5. It's totally up to us for how many times I want this loop to get executed. So let's see how many times it is getting executed now. Let's just check it out once. Save it. Execute it. No, Mohan, you cannot use if. That's why we have, like I'm explaining it with the same comparison again and again, Mohan, right? You cannot use if because if will get executed only once. Mohan, that's what we are like explaining it from the start. That's why we were comparing both. So now you can see once, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. From 1 to 9, it has been executed perfectly. And for the 10th, it was not because 10 is less than 10, it's false. Yes, Akash, you can use it. Yes, Akash, you can use it. I'm just saying a normal way of doing it. So now, people, I'm explaining everything. Don't worry. I'm explaining everything. So now, this is one case I have to do. Like, let's say if I want to increment num by 2 every time. So I can just write num equals to num plus 2. If I want to increment it by 3, I can just write num equals to num plus 3. So whatever is num, add 3 to it again and again. So this is what I can do if I want to like take any dynamic number to increase it. Either 2 times, either 3 times, either 4 times, either 5 times. But in most of the cases, we always have to increment our loop by 1. So this is one way if I want to increment it by 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. But in most of the cases, we always have to increment our variables by 1 only. So the programmers thought of that, and that's what they did. What they did is basically they introduced a new operator known as basically a unary operator and plus plus, an increment operator. You can just write it after the number, and that's what it does. It will increment your number by 1, always, only by 1. That's all. It is only used to increment anything by 1. It will never increment by 2 or 3. It is only used to increment only by 1. So this is the unary operator. When I say unary operator, that basically means an operator that only works with one variable or one operand. A single plus works with two variables, right? A plus B. So that is a binary operator. But a unary operator is something that only works with a single variable. So plus plus is a unary operator. Remember this, plus plus is a unary operator. So this is just a replacement of num equals to num plus 1. That's all. This is just a replacement. This and this both are same. But if you have to do num equal to num plus 2, you cannot use like plus 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 plus. In that case, you have to use num equals to num plus 2. Is it simple? So only to increment by 1, you can use num plus plus. In most of the cases, we only have to increment it by 1. So is it clear now? I'll explain Gali, don't worry. I'll explain Sai Prasad, I'll explain, don't worry. I'll explain what is post and pre-increment. Once let's see. Listen guys, just give me time, I'll explain you everything. Like this is the 4th lecture you are attending of mine, and we know like I'll explain you everything. So don't worry about anything. I'll explain everything. Sai Prasad, don't worry, don't worry. Shreyansh, I'm telling you, don't worry. I'm not leaving anything for you. I'll explain everything. Let's just go step by step. Let's first understand what is it, and then see the use of it. So don't worry about anything. Shreyansh, don't worry about it. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? Are we clear with this, everyone? Please tell me. Anyone having any doubt? And inside this while you can have any code, not a problem at all. Any kind of code you can have it inside it. So not a problem at all. So now, if you see while loop, so how the process of working is, you first check the condition and then you execute the statement. So even at first, if the condition is wrong, anything like nothing will be executed. So what happens in while loop? It first checks the condition and then executes the statement. So sometimes while loop is also called as an entry controlled loop because it checks the condition at the time of entry at the start. That's why while loop is also called as an entry control loop because it checks the condition first and then executes the statement. Is it clear, everyone? Are we clear with this? Fine. Now let's move ahead. Let's comment out the while. Now let's see the next loop, that is do while. So can we use string data type? No, Surya Prakash, you don't use string data type here because you cannot increment or decrement it, right? You cannot change it. You cannot write, like you can use, but like it will give you true, it will execute it, but you cannot increment or decrement it, right? You can only change it, but it will never increment or decrement. So there is a workaround. Like if you start working on it, you can do it in some ways. Yes, Saista, for is also an entry control loop. Okay, Viju, I'll tell you. Remember, you're writing system.out.println. So there are two functions. You have system.out.print and you have system.out.println. So whenever you use print, it continues the line. But when you use system.out.println, it goes to next line automatically. It has a escape character to go to next line by default. So don't worry, that is the solution with you. System.out.println. If you write println, it just goes to the next line by default. That's the feature. You don't have to use /n or something like that. Now let's move on to the next loop, that is do while loop. So let's see the syntax first. Let's see how to write it, and then we'll move ahead to see how it is working. So in do while loop, basically you write do, and then the block of code, and then at the end you write your while, and here you go with the condition. So this is how you write a do while loop. This is the syntax: do, then the block of code, whatever you want to like get executed, and then at the end you have the condition. Yes, you also have system.out.print Himapriya. That will basically not go to the next line. Yes, it is fine, Madhur, it is fine. Yes, you can use it because pre-increment or post-increment basically depend on that line only. So don't worry about it. I'll explain, don't worry. Fine. So let's move ahead now. So this is how you write a do while loop. So now the difference between while and do while is, in the case of while, what happens? It first checks the condition and then executes the statement. In do while, it is the opposite. It will first execute the statement and then it will check the condition. So now if let's say if I just go and write hello there, and now I have the variable, right? I have the variable integer num equals to 1. I'll just move it down for now so that you can see it at the same time. Let's write the same condition, what was inside normal loop, right? Now this loop is working totally same. So I have an integer num equals 1. Okay, and I also have to increment it by 1. So I can just use plus plus. It's totally fine. How to make space between two lines? Space between two words or two lines? Write a blank system.out.println between it, then that will work. Fine. So let's see. So again, it is same. Num equals 1. Totally fine. Now there is no condition by default. First there is do. So I have to execute the statement. So directly go and print the hello there. So it will print hello there. Now it will increment and make it 2. And now while 2 is less than 10. Okay, totally fine. 2 is less than 10. Now again go back to do. Again work. Execute the code. Again num plus plus. Again check. While 3 is less than 10. Okay, totally fine. So it is working same, right? But if you focus again, just hear me out once again. Integer num is equal to 1. Perfect. Directly execute the statement. Okay, fine. Execute the hello there. And now make it 2. And then 2 is less than 10. So basically in do while loop, the first number is not getting checked. The condition for the first number is not getting checked. So this is the change here. In while loop, the checking is done at the start. So basically all the numbers are checked. But in do while loop, you can see that you're just executing the statement, incrementing it, and then checking it. So basically, you're not checking the first number because you're incrementing it and then checking it. So that is the change. So in do while loop, you don't check the first number. You don't check for the first number. You directly check for the incremented number, and then you can you move ahead from that. So let's see what is the actual change here. Let's execute this first. I hope it will work totally same for now. So let's execute this. Let's run this now. And you will see the difference in some time. Yes, Akash, you can tell it. Now see, again I have hello there 9 times. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now as I said that do doesn't check the first number for condition. So let's prove it. Now let's make the condition false for the first time. Now if you see, my num is equal to 1, and now let's say if I check it for the first time only, like num is greater than 10, it is wrong for the first time. So if it was a while loop, if the condition is wrong at the first time, it will not execute any of this. But in do while loop, as you can see, my condition is getting wrong at the first time only. But let's see if it is executing something. So let's see. Let's execute this. Now you know that my condition is wrong for the first time only. So even if my condition was wrong, it executed my statement at least once. And that's because, as I said, it is not checking the condition for the first time. It is only directly going executing the statement. So it is printing hello there. And now it is incrementing. So making it 2 and now checking, okay, fine, check 2 is greater than 10. And that is false. So it is executing, it is like exiting the loop. But because it is a do while, it is at least executing the code at least once. Just because it is not checking the condition for the first time. Is it clear, everyone? So as you can see, the condition is checking at the condition is getting checked at the end. So it is also known as an exit controlled loop. And the difference between both of them will make a huge impact in future, depending on which loop we use, and we'll see in our projects. Don't worry. Yes, it will run. It will run, Arjun. Even if you don't increment, it will run because the condition is getting false. So if the condition is getting false, there is basically false conditions stop loop. So if there is no increment or decrement, that doesn't matter. That is not a problem because once the condition is false, it will stop. I'll explain, Muhammad Ali Ansari. Let's first understand the loops. Don't worry. I'll explain where to use do while, where to use while in our project. Don't worry. I'm not leaving anything for you people. I'll explain everything. You don't have to mug up anything. You'll know the difference, what is the actual difference and where to use what, which kind of loop. Yes, simple. There is a reason, right? In while, this is a while block. So basically, if something has a block of its own, we cannot put a semicolon. If we put a semicolon in programming means end. Akash, Govindraj, semicolon in programming means end of the statement. So if I put a semicolon here, this while will basically end here. So this block is of nothing. This block is of no use. So that's why I have not put any kind of semicolon here, because this block is of this while. And if some kind of keyword is having its own block, like if, like else, so you don't put a semicolon, because semicolon marks an end to the statement. In case of do while, this block is of do, and this while don't have any kind of block. That's why we are putting a semicolon in there, because that is the end. That is the end. Is it clear, Govindraj? This is the end. While is not having any kind of block. That's why there is a semicolon. But do is having a block. That's why do is not having a semicolon. Simple. So if you give semicolon, semicolon in programming languages marks the end of the statement. So the next thing will be totally new. And this is not the case in while, right? Is it clear, Akash, Govindraj? I hope it is clear. Cool. Now let's see the last loop. That is again an entry control loop. Now, when I say an entry control loop, you have to understand that I'm talking about something that will check the condition first and then execute the statement. So it is a lot similar to while. So the next loop is for loop, and it is a lot similar to while. But the only difference is the syntactical difference. The way of writing is different. Is it clear? The way of writing is different. So while loop and for loop are both entry control loop. They check the condition and then they execute the statement. The only difference is between writing. You have to use braces. That is how the syntax works. Braces basically mark the body. So if there are no braces, and if you write 3-4 lines, then it will not understand, okay, fine, these are all things inside a loop. Ravi Shekhar Singh, that's a very simple thing. If you don't use braces, and if you have 4 lines of code, and if you just remove the braces, the while loop or the if or anything that has the block, it will never understand that all the 4 lines are mine. So braces basically mark a block. That, okay, fine, these are the code that like represent this while loop. This is the 4 lines of code or 5 lines of code that represent this while loop, that are inside this while loop. So that's why you have that brackets or braces to represent a single block of code. If you just remove it, then it's of no use, because they are not in a block right now. You can check it, Ravi, right? You can check it. But again, Akash, you have indentation in Python that marks a block. So there should be something to mark a block, either braces or indentation. You cannot just like go on and put anything, right? So you have like, it's not about braces, it's about signifying a block. So either use brackets or use indentation. You'll understand, don't worry. Don't worry, Daneshwar, I'll explain. Now let's see. For loop is basically much easier to write. So let's write a for loop. So again, a for keyword. Now in this case, like in while, as you know that you have to initialize a variable first, right? You have to initialize a variable first. Then inside while you have to write the condition, and then inside the loop you have to write increment, decrement. So the 3 statements that are most important for loop, you have to write it in 3 separate places. First, you have to initialize it. First, you initialized it. Then you wrote the condition inside a while parenthesis, and again you put an increment inside the loop. So there were 3 places where we're writing the main 3 functionalities of the loop. But inside a for loop, what you can do is you can just go on and initialize the variable here, semicolon. You can just write the condition here, semicolon. You can also write the increment statement here, and inside it you just have to write the code. That's all. It works totally same. But the only difference is it has become much simpler to write. Like there are not 3 different places. It has become much simpler to write, right? all the basic needs of a loop are written in a single statement, like initialization, condition, and the increment decrement statement. And inside the brackets, you only have code, pure code. You don't have to manage any variables inside it. Nope, Ravi Shekhar, no, not at all. You don't use braces only if you have a single line of code. Remember this, Ravi Shekhar. In a lot of languages, you're not required to use braces only if you have a single line of code. If you have multiple lines and you want to make them look like a block, you have to use braces. If you want to signify a block, you have to use braces. Only if you have a single line of code, you don't have to use braces. That is the only case where you don't use braces. Ravi Shekhar Singh. If you have a single line of code, because it is single line, so the loop will understand. Like that is how the language is made. They will understand, okay, fine, this is my code. But if you have multiple lines, so either like there should be some kind of significance in that to understand it is a block, either braces or indentation, or whatever the language, whatever the things are made in that language, either braces or indentation or some kind of spaces. It depends on the language, but there should be some kind of highlight or significance to understand the block. So only if it is a single line, you can run it without braces, not a problem. I hope you're getting my answer, Ravi Shekhar Singh. So they are designed, but only for the single line. I hope you got it clear. Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone? So this is how you write it. Anna Hari, it will execute, but I'm not making it tough for everyone now because there are a lot of people who are beginners. So let's just go step by step. Let's just not remove and manipulate this. Let's just go step by step. If you attend every class, you will understand everything. So Hari, don't worry about it. Let's just go step by step because there are a lot of people who don't know what this loop will do if I remove anything or remove the condition. So let's just go step by step. Let's make everyone understand. Fine. So again, it is an entry control loop. So basically, it will check the condition first and then execute the statement. And if the condition is wrong at first, it will exit. Simple, same as while. And the most important difference between while and for is the syntactical difference. That's all, the syntactical difference. The usage difference actually. It is not doing anything else, it is just the usage difference. And I love the for loop. In future, we are going to use the for loop again and again. So don't worry about it. Let's execute this. It will do same. It will do the same thing, printing it 9 times. Perfect. Let's see. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Simple. Are we clear with this? Are we clear with this? Do while is exit control, while and for. Ganesh, while and for. Exit controls means it checks the condition at end. Ganesh, exit controls means it checks the condition at end, just like do while loop. But while and for, so basically whatever loops checks the condition first, they are anti-control loop. And whatever loops checks the condition at end after execution, those are exit control loop. It's simple. Even if you don't say that name, that's totally fine. You just have to understand the concept. Those are just some fancy words given to loop. That's all. Even if you don't take that name, totally fine, not a problem. So are we clear with loops, everyone? Are we clear with loops? Are we clear with loops? Cool. Now let's move ahead. I just wanted to show you how to concat, like how to print a string and a variable together. Yes, I was thinking of not using IntelliJ and using a simple text editor and compiling it in my command prompt. It will be much faster. So I was thinking of it. Let me see the difference between the speeds, then I can just do it. So don't worry. Okay. Now, the only thing, the one thing that I want to teach you is, I didn't taught you, I just forgot it, how to print string and variable together. As I said, these are the basic loops That for each loop is the next level thing in Java, so we'll see it in future. So don't worry about it. These are the basic loops that you learn at the first, right? So that's why we learned it within. So that's what I'm saying. These are the basic loops, right? Okay, let's move ahead. So I just wanted to show you how to print variable and string together. So let's see. So let's say if I have a string variable name equals, let's say, Thor. Okay. So I have a string variable named name, the value is Thor. Let's see how to print the name. Okay, and I also have a variable integer age which has a value 1500. And I want to print the name is Thor and the age is 1500. Let's see how to do it. So it's pretty simple. That's right. Let's see. So I have to print the name is Thor. So basically the name is variable and the age is the variable. So let's see how to do it. So whatever you're printing directly, whatever string you're printing directly, you have to put it in double quotes. So the name is. Now, the next thing I want is my variable name to be printed. The next thing I want is the variable name to be printed. So remember, you cannot write variable inside double quotes in Java. You cannot write variable inside double quotes in Java. It will just print the name is name. It will just print the name is name. So basically, you have to write your variables outside double quotes. But now this is a problem. This is not the way to concat or join string and variable together. So basically in Java, to concat string and variable together, use a plus operator. That's all. That's simple. Yes, Mohammed, that's my favorite Marvel character. Yes, you caught me. Fine. So the name is then end your string, then plus the variable. Now again, after the variable, if you want again some more string, again put a plus, then again double quotes, and again start writing. It's that simple. So string, so if you want a variable, get a plus, write the variable. And again after the variable, if you want a string, again make a plus and start writing the string. And again at the end, I want age. Simple. So how we write it? The name is name and the age is age. Simple. That's all. And after age, I don't want any string, and that's so fine. I don't write anything. Is it clear, everyone? This is how, like, someone was asking about this thing earlier today. So this is how you put it. This is how you concat string or how you print string and variable together. Is it clear, everyone? Are we clear with this? Let's execute this again once and see what's happening. You can use this. You can use this something known as expression language. But let's stick to the basics, Arjun, first. Let's stick to the basic. I'm going to show you everything. You can use that if you're already using it. You can use that. Not a problem. But let's first clear the basics. The next topic we are having, so if possible, do it using scanner. Okay, let's do it. So this is how the output is. Now, Jayprakash is saying do it with scanner. So let's do it. Let's take the name and age from the user once. I'm just solving the doubts, so don't worry, people. I'm just like there are a few people who have some kind of doubts, who are facing some kind of error. So let me solve it. Yes, we have to make quiz app. Yes, we have to make it. So I might extend the lecture today little. So let's see, or maybe I'll create the apps in the next lecture. So don't worry. So let's import the package for scanner. I hope Jayprakash, you know this. To take input, we need a scanner class, and scanner class comes from a different package. So I have to import that package. So import java.util.scanner. Oh, it has a capital S. Remember the naming convention? Classes are always named in Pascal naming conventions. That basically is every word, the first letter of every word is capital. Pascal naming convention says the first letter of every word should be capital. So this is the rule you follow. This is the convention you follow for writing class names. Start always with a capital. And for writing function names, you have to use camel case. Right? The first letter of the first word will be small, and everything else will follow capital. Simple. Even if you don't follow it, it's not a problem, but it's just a standard. I'll show you when I write code, you will see my convention. You will know it. Don't worry. I'm not writing it now, so don't worry about it. So again, string name equals to sc dot next. Okay, I didn't create the object. Let's create the object. Let's create the object. Scanner sc equals new of scanner. I hope Jayaprakash you're watching it. Sc dot next for the name, and for the age sc dot hint. And just for like making the user understand, I'm just printing some very basic things. Enter Avenger name. Copy this. Enter Avenger age. Simple. I hope Jayaprakash it is clear to you now. What is your doubt, Manasa? Manasa, did you try to check? I hope it is a very simple thing to check, right? You can just perform if A is equal to B and see if you're getting true or false. Manasa, you can just check it, right? You can, if you have editor, you can just check it right now. Just create the variables, float A. I think there is no need of asking me for this question. But you can check it here also. But I think you can check it. Pretty simple to check, right? But let's see, I'll check it for you, don't worry. But I think you should check it because this is a very simple thing. Like guys, try, if you ever have a doubt on like basic conditions or basic things, try to do it once and then ask me. I'll definitely explain you. But there should be some kind of effort behind it. Save it and let's do it. Simple. Next topic is arrays. Fine. So Avenger name. Oh, I'm writing my name. Sorry for that. Thor, age 1200. See? So I hope it is clear, Jayaprakash. It will return true. It will return true. Because the values are same, right? Even if it is float or double, values are same. I'll just remove it now. Everything from here. Or do you want this file, people? Okay, I'll just remove it for now. I have put some links on my article. You can just go on the community and see Mohan. On the community, I have posted an article about the best website links to learn Java. Okay, it gave you false, Manasa. Okay. Yes, you can write next line, but again, you have to write an extra next line. Remember last time, Naresh? In this case, you don't have to write because the next line was after next line. But I just wanted to take a single word. That's why I just use next. Next line, I can use next line when I want to take multiple words from user. That's why I just use next because Thor was a single link. Okay, let's move ahead now. Sorry, Manasa, for that. I'll take that code. Don't worry. Please, everyone, focus here. Everyone, please focus. The next topic is very simple again. SC is never closed. See that you have that object completed. Scanner SC equals to new of scanner. Please just see that you have this. Same like this. You set it like this and then I think it will work for you. Fine. Let's move to the next topic. I think around 6:45, Avinash. I think around 6:45. Fine, can we move ahead, everyone? Okay, Fine. Let's just clear the definition, because once you know the definition, once you know what it is very simple to understand. So just remember this simple thing. An array is basically a structure, a data structure, or something that stores multiple data. So if I have to tell you the definition, this is very simple. An array is a collection. An array is a collection of data of same type. So an array is basically collection of data of same type. So it is a collection of data, but it also checks a condition that they should be all of same type. So it can be a collection of 5 integers, it can be a collection of 5 strings, it can be a collection of 5 float values, it can be a collection of 5 double values. So it totally depends whatever you want to store. So basically, you just have to understand an array is nothing but a collection of data of same type. Yes, in Java, string is basically an object. I showed you, right, how to create a string at start. Even if you write this, anyone who is facing doubts about string, even if you write this, behind the code, it goes like this. Behind the scenes, actually. Behind the scene, it goes like this. It goes like this. So even if you write this, behind the scenes, it looks like this. This is just a shorthand that Java has given us to write, because this is something that is going to be used more often. That's why Java has created a shortcut for it. But this is what actually happens. So string is an object. It's not a normal variable. So let's now remove it. Fine. So array is a collection of elements or data of same type. And it helps you to store large data at a single place. That's why we basically use array. It helps you to store large data sets at a single place. Say for example, if you have to store 5 variables, or 5 numbers, or 5 ages, or 5 employees. Let's say if you want to store 10 numbers. So for that case, if I don't have a concept of arrays, I have to create 10 variables. If I have 100 data, I have to create 100 variables. But with the help of array, you can create a single variable and store 100 data. There will be no change in memory. Memory will be utilized like 100 memory blocks for 100 variables and for a single array. But the only thing you get, you don't have to create it 100 times. So remember this, what I'm saying. An array is a collection of elements or data of same type. So let's, for example, say you have 100 numbers that you want to store in your program, 100 numbers. So normally you have to create 100 variables to store 100 numbers. But by using an array, you can just create one single variable and store 100 numbers. That's the difference. You can just create one variable and store 100 numbers. And there are a lot of other uses that an array provides, but this is the best and the first difference you will see. If you want to store 100 numbers, you will create 100 variables. But by using array, you can just create one variable and store 100 values. There will be no change in memory, but while looking at it, you'll see the difference. Is it clear, everyone? Are we clear with the first difference between both of the things? Is it clear, everyone? Yes, it is same like list in Python. Exactly, Surya Prakash. So array is one of the most famous data structure in the world. The first and the most famous data structure in the world. The first structure that you'll ever learn in any programming language. So even if you learn C or C++, this is the first structure that you will learn before linked list or any kind of thing. This is the first thing that you will learn. Okay. So now let's see how to create an array in Java. So it's very, very simple. Let's see how to create it. So first, you have to write the data type, the type, the kind of data you want to store. Then the name of the array. So you can write anything. I can just say ARR equals new, again the type. Because arrays are objects in Java. Arrays are treated as objects in Java. That's why you have to write like this. Otherwise, you have just wrote like this. But arrays are treated as objects in Java. That's why you have the syntax like this, like the object creation type. So data type, and then at the very end, here you can mention the size of the array, like the number of elements you want to store in the array. Yes, list is different, right? Like it looks like a list because list is also a collection, an array is also a collection. But list is just a collection. List is not an array, because an array only accepts the value of same types. That's the difference, Hari. Yes, Hari. Yes, that is the difference. Like I just compared them working wise, not how they store the data. Yes, list is just a collection. List is not an array. List is just a collection. An array is also a collection, but they both behave differently. List can store like different types of data, but array only stores same kind of data. Remember this thing. Yes, because in Java, arrays are treated as an object, and whenever something is an object, you have to allocate memory explicitly, and that's why we're using the new operator. We learned it right while creating the objects. That new operator is used to allocate memory explicitly, because they don't allocate, they don't get the memory allocated by default. Yes, you have to assign the size every time, Mohammad Ali Ansari. Yes. Yes, so this is how it works. And again, you just have to pass like brackets here also, just for the syntactical purpose. That's all. That's how it is made. So type, the name, new, again the type and the size. So let's say if I want to create an integer array that can store 5 values, simple. Integer, let's write numbers equals new integer 5. Simple. A very simple array which can store 5 numbers. Because Ravi Shekhar, Java is an object-oriented programming, right? And everything here is an object. A lot of things, like mostly things are an object, and objects don't get memory allocated by default. You have to allocate memory, and that's why you use the new operator. New operator in Java helps you to allocate memory explicitly. So Java is an object-oriented programming language. Everything here is an object, and you have to allocate memory to the objects. That's why you use new every time. In C is not an object-oriented programming. C++ is partially object-oriented. Yes, Velen, that's perfectly right. Fine, so are we clear with the how to create an array? Now again, it's simple. How it stores values. Let's see how it stores values. So I again have to open Jamboard to make few people understand. So I want my browser window here actually. So I'm just going to explain you how it works. Please see everyone. I feel a lot of people know this. Okay, Monica, I'll tell you, don't worry. Okay, let's see how an array works now. Let's see how an array works. Please everyone just focus here. So a lot of people from you might be knowing it. A lot of people from you might not be knowing it. So let's just see how it works. So I want to create one more. Is it possible? Okay, let's just clear the screen. Fine. Okay, fine. Let's see. So now let's say you create 5 variables. Please focus everyone. Let's see if you create 5 variables like integer a, comma b, comma c, comma d, comma e. I'm just giving any name. You don't have to take names like this in your program. Always take meaningful names. So now what will happen behind the scenes is you'll basically register 5 memory blocks, right? 5 memory blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 for A, 1 for B, 1 for C, 1 for D, 1 for E. Simple. This is how it works. So the data that is going to be stored in A will come here for B, for C, for D, for E. In the same case, when you create an array, so let's say I create an array integer, name is only ARR, but the size is 5. Now it is a single variable. ARR is a single variable, right? But what happens behind the scenes in the memory is totally same. Okay, I just wrote it right now. I wanted a pen. What happens behind the scenes in the memory is totally the same again. Again, it will be registered like this. Same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 memories. Same. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? So memory-wise, there is no change. It will be stored in the same way. Are we getting clear with this? Sridhar, because array is treated as an object here. Okay, I think I solved this also. Sorry, I just read it again. Fine. Now, in this case, what is happening? here this memory location belongs to A, the second memory location belongs to B, the third memory location belongs to C, and the fourth to D, and the fifth to E respectively. In this case, now what will happen? Now, as I have only single variable, so I cannot name them separately. I cannot say that that is ARR, that is ARR, something else, because the whole memory location, the name of the whole memory location is ARR. So now what happens in this case? In this case, you access each and every location with the help of indexes, because the name of all the 5 memory locations is same. All the 5 are named ARR. So in this case, you identify them one by one with the help of indexes. So basically what happens in arrays, so they now in this case the memories are stored in like depending on the indexes. So the first location, the index of the first location is 0. The index of the second location is 1. The index of arrays always starts from 0, just like numbering things. It's same like numbering things, but starting from 0. Like when you start numbering mobiles, when you start numbering bats, or let's say when you start numbering computers, you count from 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in case of arrays, you always start your counting from 0. So you're placing them depending on the indexes, because the name is same. All the 5 blocks are named ARR, so there should be some way to access them one by one, and that's why we use something called as indexing. So each and every place or an element is having an index and it starts from 0. So it goes like this: 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So in this case, if I want to access this particular block, the second block, I have to write something called as the array name, something like this: the array name, then again square brackets and the index. If I write this ARR of 1, this is like told like this: ARR of 1. So ARR, the name of the array, then square brackets and the index you want to access. So ARR of 1. So this basically belongs to this. So ARR of 1 will give you the value which is on the first place. If I want to access this value, the value in the first block, I have to write ARR of 0. If I want to access the value in the last block, I have to write ARR of 4. So it goes like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it clear, everyone? That's the only difference. That's the difference between writing. The storing case is totally same. For both of them, 5 blocks are registered. So there is no change in memory, but there's a change in writing. And there will be a lot of changes when we start doing it. Yes, exactly same. AK, yes. Are we cleared with this, everyone? Okay, so can we move ahead now? We're using them. Okay, now let's see. Now let's say I want to apply 5 values in it. So let's see how to do it. Right? So the name of the array is numbers. So again, I want to store the value on first index. So let's do it. Numbers of 0. Just like you store some value in like a variable. Like if you define integer a, then if you want to store some value, you write a equals to 5 or 7. In this case, I'm writing numbers of 0. That is, I'm basically storing the value on the first index. That starts from 0. So let's say 5. So in the first block, the value is 5. That's right. Numbers of 1 equals 7. Numbers of 2. Okay, let's make this size only 3 for now, so that we don't have to write them 5 times. So now, like the size is 3. So it will be 0, 1, 2. Because size only specifies the number of elements. There will be 3 elements. 1 on 0, 1 on 1, 1 on 2. So never go till 3. Simple, right? Because the index is starting from 0. So let's say 89. Now let's try to print them. So I'll print them in a single line now. I'll use 3 statements actually. Let's do that. So you can use them like a normal variables. That's all. You can use them like normal variables. There's no difference. Just use number of 0 for like accessing the value, or even for storing the value. Numbers of 0. Numbers of 1. And numbers of. Now let's see if this is working. Save it. Execute. as you can see, right? I stored 5, 7, and 89, and when I printed, I again got 5, 7, and 89. That means I'm able to store values in the array and access from there. So that's totally fine. Are we clear with this, everyone? Because now we're going to do some kind of change. In a single line, need to print how to do so. Yeah, that's simple, right? I just taught you how to do it. So now basically I need some space. So again, space is basically a string in here, very basic space. So again, plus, put a string, make a space, again plus, numbers of 1, plus, make a blank string in between, plus, because again there's a variable. Is it clear, Sridhar? Is it clear? Simple. I'll just not execute this because I know that you know how this works. I'll just remove it. Now, the most fun thing here in array. Now, if you see this code, you see that almost the code looks same. Even if I write 100 times, yes, you can say, actually it is having two behaviors, right? One plus is basically for addition and one is for concatenating. So yes, it is behaving polymorphically. Side, yes, you're right. Perfect. So as you see that all the lines are like looking totally same, but there's only one difference. So basically, I can say that I'm writing the same kind of code again and again. But I learned something just before arrays. So if I have some kind of code that I have to execute again and again, I can use, instead of writing it again and again, like 3 times, 4 times, or 100 times, I can use something called as loops, where only I have to write one time and it will execute that for me. That's what I can do now. Instead of writing them again and again, I can use something called as loops. Clear? Now, I'll use something called as a for loop because it is very easier to write. Its choice is yours, totally fine for now. I'll start my I. So basically, I'm just writing index. I can just name it anything. So I'll just write index for now. Index, let's say I'm starting it from 0. And I'll go till less than 3. But only till 2. Okay, and not I. Index. Again, index will increment every time when the loop is executed. Simple. And now let's just do one thing. Let's print I and let's print index and let's see what will happen. I'll just not name it index for now. I just don't want people to get confused this index with arrays index. I just named it anything. It's totally up to you. You can name it anything. Totally up to you. So let's just write x again, print it. Let's print I. As you know what will happen here, right? It's totally fine. Because I will start from 0, right? It will check the condition, okay, fine. Check 0 is less than 3. Yes, it is less than 3. Come inside, print I, and I is 0. It will print 0. Increment it, it will make I 1. Again check. Is 1 is less than 3? Yes, it is. Print 1. Increment it, 2. Check. 2 is less than 3? Okay, fine. Print 2. Increment it, it will become 3. Check. 3 is less than 3? No, it is false. Come back. Come outside. Simple. Let's print it. We should get 0, 1, and 2 printed here. Simple. So I can basically access the loop variable inside the loop because it is again a variable, right? Error will occur. Why? Hint to error will occur. What is the problem? So what happens if you write numbers 3? You cannot write numbers 3. Akash Shawan, numbers 3 will be the value, right? You can write it, but it will be the value, right? Numbers of 3 is a value. Numbers of 3 basically means you're accessing the index. Getting my point, Akash? It will not, in this case, it will give you an error in this case. But let's say if you have the array of size 5, then in that case, you can use numbers of 3. But numbers of 3 is the value that is present at that index. It is not the last place that I want to go to using the loop. So now, Now let's see. And Akash, don't worry, I have a solution for that. In this case, it will give an error, but in normal, if your array is size 5 of 6, that will work. Numbers of 3, writing numbers of 3. But you don't have to write it because numbers of 3 is the value that is present at that index. Now, as I know that I can access the loop variable inside me, right? And I'm going from 0 till 2. And if I see my array, everything is totally same. The only thing that is changing here is the value is the index of the array, 0, 1, and 2. And as I saw here, when I executed my loop, I was able to print 0, 1, and 2. So in this case, what I can do is I can just go on and write numbers of I. Let's say for now equal to 50. Let's make it 50, not a problem. I just write it in the chat. It's this. Fine. I can see now if I try to understand this, what will happen? Fine. I will start from 0. Now, as I know, I have an array that is of 3 sides that basically will have 3 indexes. One is 0, one is 1, and one is 2. Simple. So basically, I want to access 0, 1, and 2. And let's see if it is working for me. So let's see. I will start from 0. Perfectly fine. 0 is less than 3. Yes, okay. Come inside. Numbers of I. And what is the value of I right now? It's 0. So it will basically make numbers of 0 because I will be replaced with its value. So numbers of 0 equals to 50. Perfect. Go on. I plus plus. I will become 1. 1 is less than 3. Yes, it is less than 3. Come inside. Numbers of 1 equals 50. Again go up. I plus plus. Make it 2. 2 is less than 3. Yes. Number of 2 equals 50. Again I plus plus. Number will become 3. 3 is less than 3. No. Come outside. It will just come outside. And that's all. Simple. So basically I am applying only 50 to all the 3 indexes, but this is just for understanding. Are we clear with this? And in the same way, I can also print it. Yes, 50 will be inserted 3 times. That's basic, right? That's basic. Same numbers of 5. Remember one thing: in a single program, you cannot use 2 variables with the same name. In a single program or in a single class, you cannot use 2 variables with the same name, right? Remember this thing. But in this case, I'm using I 2 times. Now remember, it totally depends on the block. So basically in this case, what's happening? This integer I is only created for this for loop. So this I is not accessible before this for loop or after this for loop. So I is not there outside this for loop. So I can again create I. So whenever you create integer I inside a for loop, that I is only available inside that block. Outside that I is not there. So you can create I again. That's totally fine. But if in this case, if I have created I outside this, like this, then I cannot write I again. See, I have an error now. Because I have already defined I and I'm defining it again. You cannot define same variables 2 times. So remember this thing. I'm using it 2 times because the first I is being created for this for loop only and it is only accessible inside this. And the second I is for this. That's all. It will be null. I was asking is Asrita, it will be null. Is it clear? In Java, basically, yes, that's the concept. Is it clear? Yes, it is local to this for loop. Exactly, it is local to this for loop. This I is local to this for loop. Only accessible here. Let's execute this. I feel you know what will be the output, right? It will be 50, 50, 50. Simple. Now let's do one thing. Let's give different values to all 3 of them. Yes, you can say this I is private for this for loop. Exactly, Saurabh. You can say it. You can say it. Totally fine. This I is private for this for loop because it is not accessible outside this. You can say it. Not a problem. Now let's do one thing. Let's take input from user. So same. No, I know how to do this. I have a scanner class object, right? Yes, I have a scanner class object. I can just go on here sc dot next int. So every time the loop is executed, it will take a value from user, and basically the index is incrementing because of the loop. So it will store the value each time on a different index. And I can also write the printing statement inside this, so that I have that printing again and again. Enter a number. It will just print enter number. I print a number. Again, it will like executed the loop. Enter number. Print again. Simple. It's totally fine, Sangeet. That's how things work. When I teach, it will look simple, but when you will do, it will be quite complicated. But just you have to do again and again. To teach this, I have done it like 100 times. That's why I'm able to do it very easily. So it's same. You have to do it again and again to learn it, how it is done. That's all. You have to practice. I have practiced a lot. That's why I'm doing it effortlessly. You have to practice. It will look quite complicated at the start, Sandeep, but once you start doing it, the brain will automatically get in how to perform operations, how to understand it, will be so fluent in it in some time. So that's how it works. Don't worry about it. At the start, you will get confused, for sure. How to take input a single character. Just create a char variable, right? You have next char. Venkat, you have next char in scanner class. You have next char. By that, you can take the character input. Now let's do it. Let's execute. Let's see. Okay, you are asking about placing a character, or there is a next char function in scanner, right? Or is it not? Okay, let's put a number. First, I'm putting 35. So basically, numbers of 0 will be 35, right? Then I'm putting 78. Numbers of 1 will be 78. Then I'm putting 89. Numbers of 2 will be 89. See? Very, very simple. Is it clear, everyone? Are we clear with this? This is the base that are we creating for the quiz application. So to understand the quiz application, you have to understand loops and arrays. So this is the base that are we creating. Okay, you can make it, right? You just have to make the float array. You have to make an array for float, simple. Instead of this, let's make it float. Float. Simple, that's all. Okay, then you have to just cast it, simple, typecast. I'll show you how to do it, don't worry. I thought there is an extra, sorry for that. So I just changed my array type to float, and that's done. Now I can put decimal values in this. Now let's do it. I can start 34.56. Okay. Input mismatch. I didn't save it or what? Oh shit, I'm so sorry. I changed my type to float, but I didn't change the user input function. So I have to use next float, because next int can only take integers. That's what I did. That was the problem. I got an error of input mismatch. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Rutuja. You can. But the thing that will happen there is, it will happen simultaneously. I'll explain, Alok, don't worry. There's a concept of exception handling at some point of time. Alok, don't worry. If I explain it right now, no one will understand it. So don't worry. I'll explain it. You can print inside the same loop, but what will happen in that case? You'll take the input, you'll print it. You'll take the input, you'll print it. You'll take the input, you'll get printed. So that is what will happen. What I'm doing right now, I'm taking 3 inputs and then printing them. If I write inside the same loop, I'll take input, print, take, print. So it will happen simultaneously. That's the only difference. You can write, not a problem. You can write if you want to do it like that. I'll explain catch Alok Kumar Singh, don't worry, when we learn exception handling. So there's a concept that I have planned for you, don't worry. Okay, let's do it. So now I can write 34.56, 78.90. Okay, I again did made a problem maybe. I just pressed enter. Sorry for that. 34.56. 34.56. 34.21. Simple. Is it clear? You can also take float values. It's amazing. Are we clear with this? Are we clear with this, everyone? Please tell me, are we clear with this? Are you people there with me, understanding it, enjoying it? Please tell me. Okay, got it, Ravi Shekhar. Got it. So I feel you can also take characters by next. Maybe. Just try it once. If it is not working, I'll tell you how to do it. Don't worry. Just try using next. Just try using next. Use next and see if you can input a character. Yes. Actually, you have to understand that float can handle integers, but integers cannot handle float. Okay, see, Manasa has a solution. Yes, you can use it. Perfect. But in this case, what will happen, Manasa, even if I put a string, it will take the first character out of it, right? That's what will happen. But that's totally fine. You can use this solution. It's totally fine if you only want to input a character, and if you're only inputting a single character, Manasa's solution will work. And that's an amazing solution, Manasa, by the way. Thank you so much for it. Don't worry, Sabhiya. It's totally fine at the start. You're just starting it. I have done it 100 times. That's the only difference. You also have to you have to do it quite a lot of times, and then it will be easy for you. So don't worry about it. It's how things work. It will take a little time for you people to understand. Okay, next year is not there, not a problem. You can use Manasa's solution, or you can also use next. Okay? Can you move ahead now? Can we move ahead, everyone? Can we? Yes, Karthik, I'll tell you. I think it's 45. There's one last thing. This is the last thing that I'm explaining for today. Shreyans. Tomorrow we are going to start the quiz application. So all the base for that application, we have done it here. Tomorrow we are going to create the complete quiz application with score and marks and everything. So this is the base for that. That's why we learned all this today. Because without this, you won't have understand that. So let's do the last thing. So now let's go to the employee class and right. Let's get two functions. Everyone, please focus. I'm doing something good. Please focus, everyone. So see, remember this thing? Remember this thing, everyone, from the start? Very simple thing that we created. Fine. This is the last thing. Please focus. Don't go away. Don't go, everyone. Don't go. Last thing. This is the last thing. We'll take just 5 minutes. Let's try to understand this. So remember this thing we had an employee class made earlier, which has a name and an age. So let's create a get details function for it, and let's get the details from user. So again, I'll need a scanner object. Yes, there will be a homework, Suryansh. Yes, there will be homework. Yes, there will be an assignment. There will be assignments, Prakash. Every day there will be an assignment. So let's import the package. Import java.util.scanner. Right. Now let's make the scanner object inside this class also. Scanner sc equals to new of scanner system.in. Okay. Now let's get the details for user. So again, sounding pretty simple, looking pretty simple, right? Enter the name. Now name equals sc.next. You can use next line if you want, not a problem. And next 8. Simple. If Jagdish, if let's say you want to let's say import a lot of classes from the same package, java.util package. Let's say if you want to import 100 classes, so that you don't have to write 100 classes. You can just write import java.util.star. But if I know that I want to use only one class, why to import everything to like increase the load of the program? Why to import everything? If I know the class, if I know like there are only 1 and 2 classes that I want to import, just use java.util the class name. But if you're like having 100 classes that are coming from the util package, then in that case, don't write 100 classes. It will just create a mess of your code. Just write java.util.star. So that's simple. If you have a great amount of classes getting imported, write java.util.star. But if you know the classes only 2 and 3 are getting imported, just write the name of the classes. That's totally fine. So simple, right? A simple employee class with 2 variables, name and age, a get details function, which is basically getting 2 inputs, and a display employee function, or let's not say display employee, let's say display details. See my naming convention? This is the camel casing. Starting the first word from lowercase and then so please explain about line 2. Which line 2, buddy? Which one? This thing? Are you new here, buddy? Alok, are you new here? Simple, right? Scanner is a class which helps you to take input from user. But this is not available in the current package. This comes from a package named java.util. So basically, if you want to use a class which belongs to some other package, you have to import the package. You have to import that class. So we imported java.util. That basically means we are importing java.util package, and which class we are going to use from the package? Dot the scanner class. So simple. The package name dot the class name. That's simple. So scanner class belongs to java.util package. That's why we have to import it. Actually, I explained it in more detail in the previous class, so you can just go on and watch the video there. Maybe the day 2 video or day 3 video. It's please watch Alok. Then you will understand. Don't worry about it, buddy. You can understand it very simply. And now, let's just print it. I hope you got it, Alok. Just please go and watch the previous videos. You'll understand it very simply. Why is there no shortcut? Fine. Now let's write it. Same. The name is plus name plus, I'm just writing in a single line. You can change any name, not a problem. I'm just writing display details. You can just write put details or not a problem. That's totally fine. Okay, let's do one thing. Instead of get details, for now, let's make it get details. In future, will change. Don't worry. And the age is plus age. Simple. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? Everyone, is it clear? Yes, Manasa. Yes, I'll explain how to do it. Not a problem. So are we clear with the employee class, everyone? Are we clear with the employee class? So we created the blueprint for the employee. We created the blueprint for the employee, right? We created it. So there's a blueprint which has employees blueprint, which has name and age, which can take input from the user and which can display the user. Simple, an employee simple class. Arjun, you don't have to add plus at the end, buddy, right? Because there's nothing we are continuing, right? So that's totally fine. End it at the age. Yes, I was saying, so whenever you name a class, you always start with a capital letter. So let's say if you have a class named employee details, how will you write it? Starting, so in a class, every single word starts with a capital letter, something like this. So if there is a class named as employee details, this is how we'll name it. But if there is a function named as employee details, this is the convention to name it. So in a class, every word is starting with a capital letter. But in a function, the first word start with small and then every other word will start with a capital letter. This is how the naming conventions are used in Java. This is the Pascal naming convention where every word is capital. This is the camel casing convention where the first word is small and then every other word will be capital. That's all. Even if you don't follow it, it's not a problem, but this is the standard, international standard. Simple now. Now let's go to main.java. Let's comment all this out. Let's comment all this out. I'm not deleting it because I want to share these files with you so that you have this. Then now I hope you will know how to create the object, right? I hope you will know how to create an object. Same, we know it, right? Employee P equals new of employee. That's all. If I want to create two objects, let's say first one is E1 and the second one is E2. Simple, right? Very, very simple. And now I can just go on and write E1 dot get details and E1 dot display details. And same for E2. E2 dot, because both have all the features of the class, right? Class is just a blueprint. It is just defining what the object will do. Okay, fine, this is the features. And both the objects having all the features of the class. So again, E2 dot get details and E2 dot display. And I know what this will do, right? It will get details for the first user, display for the second user, and display. Let's see how it is working. We just have 5 minutes left. Don't go anywhere. This is very, very important. The thing that I'm going to show you. I hope you will understanding it. Yes, you can ask Rita, but that's not the standard way of doing it. Java suggests to create a single class in a single file. It is a convention that we follow. But if you want, you can do it. So let's enter the name Saurabh, enter the age 25. Again, enter the name Prasad and enter the age 24. And you can see, right? We printed everything. So first, get details was called and we got the details and then we printed it. Second, again get details was called for E2 and then we printed it. Was it simple, everyone? Yes, I'll share this code today, don't worry. Was it simple, everyone? Please tell me, was it simple? Then we can move ahead. Like this is the thing that we did in the last session also. So that's totally fine. Now, what I want you to know here is, remember the thing that we learned, let's say if I want to store 100 integers, I had to create 100 variables. But instead of creating 100 variables, I got an easy method to create an array so that I can use loops and I don't have to write the code again and again. So instead of creating 100 variables to store 100 integers, I created an array which can store 100 variables and I use loop to just write once and use it 100 times. In the same case, you can also work with objects, right? Just like integers, you have employees. Just like integers, you have employees. So let's say if you want to create 100 employees. So in that case, you have to create 100 objects, just like 100 integer variables. You have to create 100 employee objects. So again, in that case, you can use something known as arrays. That like the thing that we learned earlier. Now what you can do, just like we created an array for integer, right? Integer, then this bracket, then we just wrote like numbers, then equals to new of integer, and then we gave size of 3. So it basically said 3 integers. In the same case, we can also create 3 employees. So the type of employee is employee, right? The type of integer is int. The data type for storing integer values is int. The data type for storing employee object is employee, right? This is the type of employee. So employee, this bracket, right? Employees equals to new of employee, and let's say 3. And in this case, you have created 3 employees. Very, very simple. Right? Now remember this thing, this employees is not the employee object. This employee is the array which is holding the objects. Remember? Like in this case, remember this case? We had this float, right? So this numbers was not the float number. this numbers was the array which was holding 3 float data. This numbers was the array which was holding 3 float values. In that same case, this employees is not the object. This is the array which is going to hold 3 employee objects. Are we getting clear? Are we clear with creating this? Are we clear with creating this, everyone? So this is basically array of objects. We created an array of objects. The first thing was array of integers. Then we learned how to create array of floats. This is an array of employee objects. Simple, right? Very, very simple. Yes, we created array of class, but don't say array of class. It is basically array of objects, because we are going to store objects, not classes. Class is only made once. It is just a blueprint. You don't use it. You create objects and use it. So you don't say array of class, it is array of objects. And now you know that employees of 0 is one object. Same, right? You just learned it. Employees of 1 is one object. Employees of 2 is third object. Right? But now there is a problem. There is one single problem. There is one different thing here. Whenever you create object, you write new of the constructor, right? Let's say if you want to create a very basic object of employee class, what do? You write new of this employee constructor. And now that is the problem here. To allocate memory to an object or to use an object, you need this new of the constructor object, because this constructor is something, this method is something that actually helps to create the object. This is something that actually gives memory to the object. So in this case, actually what is happening, I created employees array. I have 3 employee objects in that, but all the 3 objects are not having any memory because we need to do this. We have not done this. So now I have 3 employee objects, but until and unless I do this, they don't have any memory. So they are not going to call any of your methods or any of your variables. That is the problem. This is the only thing that you have to do. So what you can do is, so this object has already been created inside employee. Like it is containing 3 employees. Employees of 0 is 1. But now you have to pass the object. Now you have to pass the actual object inside it. And in that case, you can just go on and write new of employee. Now you're going to create the actual objects. Now employees of 0 is going to become an actual object. Previously, it was just a blank object. It was not knowing I am having a memory or what kind of object I am. It was just an array holding 3 values. Now, like it was just a blank array actually, which is going to store employee object. But there was no employee object in that because new of the constructor actually creates the object. We can use for loop Venkat. We're going step by step. Don't worry. We're going step by step. But remember one thing, new of the constructor actually creates the object. Till then, there is no object. Remember this thing. So even if in here also, if you just don't do this, this is not an object. This is just a blank variable standing out there, which knows its type, but actually it has no memory and it is not working as an object. To make this an object, you need this. And in the same case, the array, its employees of 0 is just something blank. It needs an object. So to create an object, always remember, you always have to do new of the constructor. That is actually what creates the object. Remember this thing every time. Now I have 3 objects. And now as I again see here, the problem, everything is same. The only thing here is changing is 0, 1, and 2. So now what I can do? Same thing. I can just go on and apply a for loop for integer I equals 0. I is less than 3 because the size is 0, 1, and 2. So less than 3. Perfectly fine. I plus plus. I don't need these 2 lines. I just need only 1 line. Now, instead of 0, I can just write 1. And remember one thing, start commenting. So this is creating objects. Commenting. Control slash is the shortcut for commenting in IntelliJ. Control slash. So I just commented it. So this is creating objects. Now let's start getting details. So now we are done with creating objects. AK, that is creating the array. That is creating the object array. That is helping us to use employees like this, employees of I. That is helping us. So this is the creation of array, right? Just like we created the array for integer or float, this is just creation of the array. Simple. So we created an array of employees, and here we passed all the objects to that array. And now we are going to get the details. Simple. So just write, let's say, get details. Start commenting like in your code, people. That will help you. So again, integer I equals 0 because it is a local variable for that particular for loop. Less than 3, same. I plus plus. Now we have the objects. You can just call it. So employees of 0 is one object, employee of 1 is one object, and employee of 2 is an object. So basically, employees of I dot see get details. So this will call get details 3 times. And now in the same fashion, of get details, I'll just call. So this is actually same like getting 3 objects, but we just used array. So it just, yes, exactly, Akash. That's what array is, right? This is the code. I'm not explaining, Sangeet. This is the code. See, it will work. Don't worry. This is the code. This is the code. Looks how it like how easy it actually looks. You just thought that it is just an explanation. Yes, it is the code. Yes, just like we created array of integers to reduce the length of the code, we created array of employees to reduce the length of the code, and so that we can use multiple objects inside a single loop. So basically, it is reducing the length of the code. That's what loops are getting used for, reducing the length of the code, reusing the same code again and again. Yes, yes, 3 elements, Monica. Yes, just like in the integers, right? Just like is in here, float numbers, new float of 3 for 3 float values. Same. This the array size is 3. That is, it is going to store 3 employee objects. That's all. Size 3. Simple. Clear? The first loop is basically creating the 3 objects. The second loop is basically getting the details for the 3 objects, and the third loop is basically printing. Now let's do it. Enter the name. 3 employees, right? So I'll just put it first is Saurabh with 25, second is Prasad with 24, and let's say third is Thor with 1500. So 3 employees, print. You can see. Don't worry, I'm giving it. Let's first see it, right? Is it clear, everyone? Are we clear with this, everyone? Yes, Sunny. Now you got it. In C++, you can also use clear screen. Gagandeep. Clear screen is available in C and C++ both. So you can just use clear screen in C. Okay, fine, I found. In Java. Yes, there is. I'll tell you tomorrow when we start creating the project. Don't worry. Yes, there is, because it is again a console. So there is, don't worry. I'll let you know tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to use it. So let's see. We're just going step by step. So don't worry about it. Till that time, you can search it and tell me what is it. Take it as a task. Are we clear with this assignment? Or else you can just reduce the length of the code by doing this also. What you can do here is, you can just take this line and put it here. You can just reduce one loop. Now, simple, right? create the object, get the details. Loop will execute again, create the second object, get the details. Loop will execute again, create the third object. So basically, by this case, you just reduced one loop. So just you reduce 3 lines of code. You just do this. My community ID, I'm again writing it in the chat. I'll share this code today. Don't worry, you'll just get the mail in 1 hour about this code. And inside the folder, you'll be also having an assignment text file. In that, the assignment will be written for you. I'm not saying the assignment online today. All of you will get a mail. All of you people will get a mail. In that thing, both of these files will be there, and a text file with written assignment will be there. The question. Is it clear? That will be shared in the next 1 hour. Don't worry. All these files and the assignment file also. Is it clear, everyone? So now, today here we are ending the session. I hope you people understood everything, and I hope you people enjoyed it. Please let me know in the chats. I'll show you tomorrow, Karthik, don't worry. I'll show you. Yes, you can leave now. You can leave, don't worry. Amazing, amazing. I'm happy that you people loved it. So tomorrow we're going to create the quiz application. Be ready. Let's see, Neha, I can't tell right now. Let's see how much we can cover in the next 3 or 4 days, maybe this week. Yes, people, see you tomorrow. Yes, you can leave. Okay, I'm writing it here on the code. This is my ID. You can search on LetsUpgrade community like this. Thank you, Gagandeep. Thank you, Jyoti. Yes, I'll be writing the assignments in the folder that will be shared to you people. All these files with the folder will be available to you. Don't worry. Yes, Pushpa, that is the problem. We learned all the basics about making the quiz application today, and tomorrow at the very start, we're going to create it. So Pushpa, just one more day, we'll make it tomorrow. Yes, Venkat, I have to do it. I will go a little bit fast once people start understanding fast. So don't worry that there are a lot of people who are just starting with Java. So for them, I have to just go a little slow, or I have to repeat the things few times, so that justice is for all the people, so that all the people can understand it properly. So don't worry. Once people start understanding clearly, we'll definitely go fast, Venkat. Don't worry. You'll come to know, Sripati. Don't worry. You're on the community, right? You'll come to know. First, I'll see if I have to do both or not. Just vote. And I just got the vote today. So again, you can also vote, and I'll see which of the project wins, and I'll make it tomorrow. You can again go and vote. Yes, I'll be assisting you, Sangeet. Don't worry. I'll be ready to help anytime. Akshara, just go on my ID, and I have posted an article about downloading it, and I have shared it. You can just go on and download it from there, Akshara. Thank you so much, Venkat. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. Tomorrow, there will be a video available on Let's Upgrade channel on how to upload assignments. So don't worry. It will be uploaded by tomorrow. You can watch it, and then you can start uploading your assignment. Akshara, don't worry, just go on the community. I have posted an article. You can just download it from there. I have posted an article. I have shared a drive link where JDK is present. Just download it. Yeah. So you have one more day to vote. Jagdish, you have one more day to vote. You have the complete night and tomorrow's day to vote. Thank you so much, Akshara. Thank you so much. No, not a problem, Akash. Or else if you can, you just upload it. Not a problem if you upload it again. Not a problem, Akash. For safety, just upload it again. Okay, AK, just post the error and your code. Okay, in IntelliJ only. Okay, I'll be telling you tomorrow. Just do one thing, AK. Please post your code and the error that is coming, like complete error message. Just post it and I'll see. Just tag me in that. Please, AK, do this. I'll definitely solve it, AK. Just post your code and the complete error message. I'll solve it. AK, please do it. Yes, I think that is what you have to do. So you can see in the video actually. You can upload in the repository and then you can just share the link in the form. So Monica, don't worry, you'll see it in the video tomorrow. You'll see it in the video tomorrow, Monica. Bye, Gagandeep. Yes, Gagandeep, I'll solve your error too, don't worry. Harshad sir, are you there?
Yes, sir. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. I think, sir, we can close the session for today.
Yes, sir. No issue at all.
Bye, everyone.